Hey guys, and welcome to the Buster Bunch Advanced Melee Guide, featuring the Tier 95 Lengs, the Ek-ZekKil, and the Vestments of Havoc. We're just going to go ahead and assume that you watched our previous Intro to Melee Guide, and that you're up to date with the ability priority orders and gear setup. If you haven't, go back and review it, because this video is only going to cover what's relevant for Tier 95 gear today. The Tier 95 Lengs share the same passive as their Tier 85 counterparts, which means that Hurricane and Destroy no longer share a cooldown, and Hurricane can be used while wielding them. As for the spec Icy Tempest, it currently costs 20% adrenaline, lasts for 30 seconds, and has a 60-second cooldown. When used, the player's damage cap increases by 30% for 30 seconds. The special only benefits a few abilities like Overpower and Assault, but it's a lot more beneficial in instances where player damage can be artificially boosted, like during Raksha Phase 4 or Tyraket with the Salve Amulet E and other Undead Slayer perks and abilities, which makes it extremely situational and generally avoided for most bossing instances at the time of this video. However, with Jagex currently looking into removing hit caps for all styles and Mod Ramen working on a spec rework, the Lengs may just gain further use in the future. The Ek-ZekKil is a Tier 95 two-handed weapon, but its real strength lies in the Igneous Cleave special. It costs 50% adrenaline, with a cooldown of 60 seconds. When used, the spec does an initial hit of 62 to 190% before inflicting a bleed of 6 hits. The first bleed hit will deal 30 to 105% ability damage, with each subsequent hit dealing a multiplicative 5% increased damage. In practice, this means that the bleed damage will greatly increase for each additional hit. There are two different ways of extending the duration of this perk. The first one is to cast it from an Essence of Finality while wielding a Masterwork Spear of Annihilation, which increases the default bleed hits from 6 to 9. Additionally, if a target's suffering from the spec and is hit with another bleed or burn ability, an additional bleed of Igneous Cleave is added. Up to 5 additional bleeds can be inflicted this way, giving a grand total of 14 hits. Since the spec scales off the first bleed hit, using Chaos Roar right before will double the entirety of the spec damage for the full duration, which deals an insane amount of damage over time. This can be further increased with the Enhanced Gloves of Passage debuff after using the Havoc or Smash ability while having them equipped, which increases all bleed damage by 25%. As for the Vestments of Havoc, it's a Tier 95 set of 4 armor pieces with 3 passives depending on the amount of pieces worn. At 2 pieces, after casting a melee ultimate ability, you regenerate 15% adrenaline over 18 seconds. If another ultimate ability is cast while this is already in effect, you regenerate 20% adrenaline instantly and end the regeneration effect. At 3 pieces, the duration of Berserk is extended by 6 seconds, increasing its duration from 20.4 seconds to 26.4 seconds. And at 4 pieces, a player's maximum adrenaline is increased by 20%, making the new total of your adrenaline 120%. To sum it up, the set increases adrenaline gain, extends Berserk, and increases the starting adrenaline on rotations. However, this comes at a cost, as the armor only has the equivalent defense of Tier 75 armor, and lacks any damage delaying effects like Trim Masterwork. Another issue with the set is that the Vestment's helm conflicts with the Jaws of the Abyss, and if you had to pick one, the Jaws are a lot better. However, ideally, you'd start Berserk rotations with the Vestment's helm, then swap to the Jaws right after Berserk, or whenever you go below 100% adrenaline if you get a Relentless proc, and then go back to the 4-piece Vestments right as you approach 100% adrenaline again. Now that we're familiar with the Tier 95 gear, let's look at a rotation and see how it can be used in practice. We'll start off by casting Berserk, while throwing a Vuln Bomb and drinking an Adrem Pot. Swap to the Jaws of the Abyss, use Greater Barge, and cast Hurricane with Lengs. Then, apply Destroy as a damage over time, also with the Lengs. Use Dismember and Havoc with the Gloves of Passage. After that, use Chaos Roar and cast the Ek-ZekKil spec. Use 2 basics do a 3-hit flurry, and then finish the rotation off with Assault and Hurricane with your Lengs once more. Following that, use your bleeds and cast the ZGS spec when you can. That's all for the Buster Bunch Advanced Melee Guide. We hope you enjoy the content and found it helpful. If you have any questions or concerns, or just generally enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment so we can get back to you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you in the next.